Okay? March is a very important month. And every month's important. But to some people, March is more important. We call this Irish American Heritage Month because many people who came from a country called Ireland came to America and other parts of the world, and many of them settled right here in Lawrence, Massachusetts, where many of us came from. And many people, those Irish people and other nationalities, went to your school right over here. So, very simply, it is a great time. We celebrate lots of things. We celebrate St. Patrick during this month because he was a great person in Irish history. Though he didn't come from Ireland, he was an immigrant to Ireland too, according to the story. Today, we have two people here from Ireland who work in Boston at the Irish Consulate. And with them is the director of the Lawrence Public Library, and she's here today also to celebrate with you. And we have the assistant director right over here in the back, who's hiding the camera also. So we have some very special guests, and I know everyone here is going to listen and be quiet and be respectful. I don't even have to tell you that. If it was a doubt, I would. But not you. So have a wonderful afternoon. I'm going to turn it over to you, and you'll be very surprised what they're going to talk to you about today. And there'll be, when you go back to school, there'll be some, if you're very good, the teachers will take back some refreshments and maybe even some more surprises. Okay, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Good morning, girls and boys. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. I haven't had my lunch yet, so I'm quite hungry. So it's Misha Onion Lynn. That means my name is Anne Flynn, and I come from Ireland. And this is my colleague.
It's Misha Casey McGill-Rehill. That means my name is Casey McElmeal, and I'm also from Ireland.
And we both work at the Irish Consulate in Boston. And our job at the Irish Consulate in Boston is to help other Irish immigrants who live here, who have come from Ireland to make America their home.
Or people who have grandparents who were born in Ireland, or parents, and want to learn how to become an Irish citizen, or live or work in Ireland.
Yeah. So the reason we're here today is to talk to you about Ireland and to see what questions you might have. Ireland is very different from America right now, but our childhood is probably quite different to yours. I grew up in a very small little village. It had one grocery store, it had 3 pubs, and 1 post office, and it was right out in the middle of the countryside. So we didn't have any public transportation, lots of buses coming through, we didn't have any big buildings. Just out in the countryside, so I walked to school every day and I walked home. And in my class at school, we didn't have 20 or 30 other children in our class. In my class, I had 10 children in my class. So
I had 5, including me.
Yeah. So our school experiences were probably very different to yours. And we had the same friends from when we started kindergarten right up until we were at 8th grade when we went to high school. So our schools were very, very small back then. Does anyone have any questions about schools in Ireland? Yes. Yes.
What's your name?
Serge.
Serge. Hi, Serge. What's your question?
Why do you have 5 kids there?
Well, where I'm from is teeny tiny. Anne lived in a village. I lived in the middle of the countryside. I didn't even have next door neighbours. I had fields.
I came from Africa.
Oh yeah?
I did. Very good.
So that's why we had a teeny tiny class, because it was the countryside.
I came here because it was dangerous.
You did? Well, many people immigrate for many different reasons. I am a new immigrant to the United States, and I came here because I wanted to get a good job. And now I have children just like you, and they're Americans. What's your question?
If you were in a tiny island, how did you be able to see?
Well, I actually flew on an airplane. I came with Aer Lingus. Aer Lingus is the Irish national airline, and they brought me over to America. But before we came, the immigrants that came to Lawrence that Bill was talking about, they would have come on a big ship. And they would have come into a place called Ellis Island in New York. And all of the immigrants came to America through that little port. And they all had to bring their paperwork and their families, and they all came in there. Then they all dispersed right across the United States. A lot of them from where I came from, now live in New York and Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. You have a question?
In Ireland, you guys wear a lot of green, or do you have to, or is it very green over there?
It's really green over there because it rains a lot, and then there's sun also, so the grass is just always really healthy, so it's really, really green. We don't wear green a lot, maybe on St. Patrick's Day, like everyone here, but
If you don't wear green, you get to pitch somebody.
yeah, you do.
I have another one. Was it rain?
In Ireland, there's lots of wind and rain. It rains all the time.
Do you guys have food?
Yeah, we have lots of really fresh food because there's a lot of farms. So you have a lot of animals there, and like beef, that you get beef and milk and things like that, and then a lot of fresh fruit.
One day, right? It was raining, right, in Africa, and the wind was blowing me up. I was like on the door, so they couldn't let me out, but I fell.
Oh no!
In Ireland, it rains a lot. We don't get any snow in Ireland. Very little snow. And our rainiest month, I think, is April or December, January, the winter months. It's quite cold, but not quite as cold as it gets here in Massachusetts. But the reason why the fields and the trees are always so green is because we get so much rain. Yeah.
Do you have a question?
What, is it expensive there?
Yes, right now it's expensive.
Yeah. It would be similar to here, I think. Yeah.
But in Ireland, Ireland is part of a bigger continent called the European Union. Has anybody ever heard of the European Union? But it's a big continent. There's many countries that are part of this union, and we used to have our own currency, our own types of money, which used to be called the punt. But now that we don't have that money anymore, so Ireland, along with another bunch of countries in Europe, we shared this money called the euro. I don't know if you've ever heard of the euro. So you can use, you have heard of it, so you can use that money, that same money in all number of different countries around Europe. And it is a little bit more expensive. Things are more expensive there. Yes, what's your question?
What was recess like when you were a kid at school?
Oh gosh, recess. Okay, so we didn't have, I'll tell you what we didn't have. We didn't have playgrounds per se. We didn't have this wonderful slides and jungle gym bars. We had none of that. We just had a great big field. And we went out into the great big field and a little playground, and then we played tag, and sometimes we just played hide and seek around the yard. We had to make our own games. We played hopscotch. We got some chalk and we played hopscotch, and we played different kind of games like that. Yeah.
That's like our field.
It is, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's better if you don't have too many toys around, so you have to use your mind, and then you make up your own fun games. What's your question? Yeah.
How old are
I'm 20. How old are you, Casey?
you? How old am I? 24. Good memory, guys.
What's your question?
A few years.
Sorry, what was that again?
When your school's so little, how many classes do you have?
How many grades or how many subjects?
Like grades.
Grades. We had the same as you. We'd have kindergarten. Well, we called it baby infants, and they were the real small little preschoolers. And then we had low infants and high infants.
Yeah.
First, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade. So fifth grade would be the same as eighth grade here.
Sixth.
And sixth grade, is it? Sorry, sixth grade. And then we would move on to high school.
What's your question?
Was taller than the middle school
The high schools were bigger because people would be bused in from like the countryside to like a main town. So in my school there were 600, and that was from people from the age of 12 to 18. So it's still not as big as high schools here, but it's bigger than our primary schools.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about the island near New York, we're talking about the island with the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. You're very clever. That's right.
Yeah,
Good job.
right there.
Good job.
Do you have a question?
Do you live here now?
Yes.
Where do you live, Casey?
I live in Cambridge, so closer to Boston, and Anne lives the next town over.
I live in
She's your neighbour.
So if you see me in Market Basket, come up and say hi, okay? And tell me that you saw me at the library. That's okay. Do you? Okay, we'll talk later. Okay. What's your question?
What my school was St. Patrick's National School, and then I went to St. Louis for high school.
My school was Castletown National School. That's a long one. It's a long name. Your question.
But what are the grades? How were they? Were they harder or easier?
Well, school's always hard, right? You know, it's a struggle. Lots of homework. We always got a lot of homework in the evenings.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I compare when I was a child to when I have a little 8-year-old boy. So he doesn't bring home much homework. He tends to do all of his work at school. But when I was a little girl, we had a lot of homework.
Hours.
Yeah, we would have to write compositions. Our teacher would give us a topic. They'd say, okay, it's a beautiful day. Write a story about something you did on a beautiful day. And you would have to go home and write that story.
What did you have?
Each day, we would definitely get writing.
Maths.
And math. Writing and math and history was a big one. And geography. We did geography as well, so we learned about all the different countries of the world. That was my favorite subject. But we focused a lot on Irish history and European history. Any question?
I have not seen a 4-leaf Clover, unfortunately. I'd be very lucky if I did, because they're very lucky, but...
Don't stop looking, because they're out there. Someone has to find it. Yeah.
Find out.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. What's your question? Yes, you.
How warm is it in Ireland?
I remember it as being very cold. They had a really hot summer last year, which was very unusual, but I think it's cold. What about you, Anne?
Yeah, it's about 68 degrees. So on Saturday it's going to be warmer than it is now, so it'll be about 60 degrees. So it's like that in Ireland most of the year.
It's like the same temperature.
But it does get cold in winter time because it rains and it feels very damp. So even if it's not that cold, it's a different type of cold. It kind of makes you feel much chillier. But it doesn't snow, so it doesn't get quite as cold as it gets here in Massachusetts. Yeah. What's your question? Yeah, I'll read that.
Are there castles in Ireland?
Yes.
Loads of castles. There's some wonderful castles in Ireland. There's probably one in every county
At least.
in
yeah.
Ireland. And some of the big ones, they've been converted to hotels, and you can actually go and stay in some of the castles in Ireland. One of the most famous castles is the Blarney Castle, and that's in County Cork, right? Yeah, in County Cork. And a lot of people go there because there's a famous stone right on the inside wall of that castle. And they say if you kiss that stone, that you get what's called the gift of the gab. And that means that if you're very quiet or shy and you kiss that stone, all of a sudden you're going to be able to talk and tell stories and be really chatty. So lots of people who go to Ireland, they go there to kiss the Blarney Stone. But you don't just kiss it like this, you have to kiss it backwards. So you have to bend over like this. Someone has to hold you here by the knees so you don't fall right through onto the ground, and you kiss it upside down. It's quite hard to do.
I could do a bridge.
Do you think you could do it? It's like doing gymnastics. You have to go over like this. And
I could do
Exactly. But a thing to remember at the castles is lots of them are really, really haunted. Lots of ghosts.
I'm not afraid.
You're not afraid? We should send you there then.
Is
Is Ireland the same as Canada? There's similarities. There's lots of Irish people in Canada, but Canada's much colder, I think. Yeah.
When you were young, could you Irish dance?
I could. I wasn't very good at it. I'm not going to do it for you now. That's for sure.
I think every little girl has done Irish dancing at some point. Has anybody ever seen Irish dancing? No. Does anybody do Irish dancing?
You did it!
Some of you do. Do you go to class?
Yeah.
You do? On YouTube, yes.
Lots of fun.
Sorry?
Okay, let's quiet down. We want to hear these questions because they're very important.
So this little boy was asking me about what kind of animals we have in Ireland. So we've got some really cool animals that you don't have here in America. One that comes to mind is you have gray squirrels here in America. Well, in Ireland you have red squirrels, and they're very, very cute, and they have lovely little ears and little wispy hairs coming out. And they were nearly extinct in Ireland. And all of a sudden now these red squirrels are coming back, and the government are trying to protect them, and they're very, very sweet, and they were quite rare for a very long time. And what other ones? We have badgers. Has anyone ever heard of a badger?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks like a skunk.
it does. It looks a bit like a big skunk with no tail, and it's got two black stripes here. And we also have...
Get rabies.
Yes.
Yes,
That
that's
is true. So they're trying to get rid of badgers.
We also have a
Farmers
little...
don't like badgers.
Yeah. We also have little animals. They're called... What's it called? The pet martin? What is it? The pine martin.
Pine martin?
It's a pine martin. It's like a little dog. It's kind of...
It's like an otter.
It's like an otter, but it's
vicious.
bigger. It's very vicious. They're very cute to look at. So they kind of build their little nests along the river, and they go and they fish for fish and stuff. So they're unique to Ireland as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I have that type of money.
What's that?
I have that type of money.
You have euros?
You do have a euro? How much do you have?
I have one. I
One?
found it at the airport.
Oh,
You did
wow.
that? Very good.
We'll keep that in case you ever go to Ireland.
Yes. What's your question? Yes.
Yeah.
Pardon?
What's a county?
What's a county? Okay, so Ireland is divided up, first of all, into 4 separate regions. The north is Ulster, the south is Munster, the east is Connacht, and the west is Leinster. I live in Leinster, and
I live in
Casey lives
Ulster.
And then within those 4 regions, you have counties. And my county is called County Westmeath. And Casey's county is called
Monaghan.
So those counties, there's probably about 32 counties in the southern of Ireland. And they're a little bit like Essex County, Middlesex County here. So it's just a way to divide up the country into different regions. Yeah.
When did you meet each other?
2 years ago. I started interning at the consulate. Anne has worked there longer than me, and that's where we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a statue of St. Patrick in Ireland?
There's lots of statues of St. Patrick in Ireland, and St. Patrick has lots of like holy sites around Ireland where there's little wells, and you can go and you can take some holy water, and people say it has healing qualities. So there's one near my house in Monaghan. And there's a chair where he apparently sat, made out of stone, where if you sit in it, you'll be healed. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I believe in saints.
You do?
That's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Well, most people do in Ireland. We all
Yeah.
believe in the saints. What's your question?
Is there no toy store there?
A toy store? Yes. There is lots of toy stores. Yeah. We're all very good children. Yeah, lots of toys. You have a question? There are sharks in Ireland, but they're not like vicious. Well, they are vicious, but they're not as vicious as the ones that are on the Cape. They're smaller.
Well, in Ireland, the beaches are like the sea is different because Ireland is it's right out in the Atlantic Ocean. So the ocean around the island of Ireland is very rough. So not many people can go swimming there. And we do have grey seals that are native to Ireland. And as you know, the sharks, if there's seals around, the sharks will come too. But we never have any accidents in terms of, human beings seeing sightings of sharks because the sea is so rough.
It's also so cold.
It's very cold, so not many people go swimming in Ireland. In fact, not many Irish people kind of really know how to swim. Even when I was growing up, nobody really knew how to swim because we lived in the countryside and we were so far away from the beach, we didn't go. So I don't know how to swim. Isn't that something? Can you swim, Casey?
I can swim, but I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, but most kids now know how to swim. They learn in the pool. But years and years ago, when we couldn't get to the beach, we just kind of paddled in the water because it was really too cold to go in and practice swimming. Yeah.
Is there a question? Are there any websites? Hair shops? Yes. Lots and lots of hairdressers, yeah.
Why is such a Irish
Symbol? Yeah, that's a really good question. That's the national symbol of Ireland, and that's an Irish harp.
You would see that harp anywhere, and in fact, going back to the question of money, Ireland's money, of all the euro that we use in Ireland, that money comes from Ireland because there's a harp on the back of all of the coins that we have. So you'll have money from Italy, or you can have the euro from Italy, you can use the euro from France. The symbol will be different on the back of that money, but for Ireland, you'll always know if that's an Irish coin because there's going to be a harp on the back of that money.
I had a set from Ireland.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's very good. Anybody else got any questions? Lots. Who's next? How about you? What's your question? We don't speak Gaelic at the consulate. In fact, most of Ireland doesn't actually speak Gaelic from day to day, but there are certain parts of Ireland around the coast, up north, down south, and in the west coast, they speak Gaelic only. But everybody goes to school in Ireland has to learn Gaelic. It's part of the curriculum. And I don't know if you can graduate if you don't pass.
Well, you
Irish.
can. There's certain restrictions,
restrictions, but everybody has to do Gaelic when they're at school. It's quite a hard language, but it's a very beautiful language. And there are classes here in Boston where you can go and learn Irish if you want to. So, yes, what's your question? Yes.
What kind of toys? Yeah. The same
Same as
when I was
America.
growing up, same as you guys here.
Mm-hmm.
Barbie and
Yes, sure they
There's
do. They have
Xboxes,
they like
yes.
everything you guys like. What's your question?
Do they have Nintendo Switch?
Where are my parents?
PlayStation. Yeah.
My parents live in Ireland still.
Do they also-
Actually, most of my
Yes.
family
Do
live
they
in
also have
Ireland.
a dolls?
Yeah. What is that?
And what does it kind of dolls that make you play with? And these dolls, you could either eat, spit, cry, or punch candy.
Oh my
Or not
goodness.
spit water from their ears.
From their ears.
Okay, kids. So I'm just looking at the time. So I did bring a little book, and I wanted to read this little book to you. I don't know if anybody has heard of this book before, but this little book is called The Children of Lir. Okay, so because we're stuck for time, so we're just going to read this little book to you. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, I don't have my glasses, so please bear with me. There was a time in ancient Ireland when the people believed in magic and in druids and spells. These were the days of the Tua de Danann tribe, the goddess of Danu and the king Lir, who was the lord of the sea. This is the story of the children of Lir. Long ago in Ireland there lived a king named Lir. He lived with his wife and 4 children and was very happy. Lir's daughter was called Fionnuala. She was the eldest of 4 children. Fionnuala's 3 brothers were called Aed, Fiachra, and Con, and they all lived in a beautiful castle in the middle of the forest. When his wife died, Lear was very, very sad. The children were very sad too. My children need a mother, Lear said to himself, so he decided to marry again. His new wife was called Aoife. Aoife was very jealous of Lear's children. She believed that Lear loved his children more than he loved her. Aoife hated the children so much that she longed to get rid of them. Soon she thought of a plan. That's Aoife. She's not very nice, is she? Can you see that picture? Oh my goodness. Oh, I wouldn't like her as my mummy. One warm summer day, she took Fionnuala and her brothers to swim in a lake near the castle. The children were delighted. There was nothing they liked better than to play in the water. They spent hours in the lake, playing happily together. They splashed each other and sang at the top of their voices. Suddenly, Aoife took out a magic wand. There was a flash of light, and the children of Lear were nowhere to be seen. Instead, there were 4 beautiful swans in the water, with feathers as white as snow. The children looked at each other in horror. They had been turned into swans. "What have you done to us?" cried Fionnuala. "I have put you under a spell," said Aoife. "You will be swans for 900 years." She laughed. "You will spend 300 years here in Loch Derivara. Then you must spend 300 years in the Sea of Moyle. And you will spend the last 300 years in the waters of Inishglora," she said. "You will remain swans for 900 years until a Christian bell heralds a new age," Aoife said. Aoife then returned to the castle. She told Lear that his children had drowned, and the king rushed to the lake, but he could see no sign of his children. All he could see were 4 white swans swimming towards him. Suddenly, one of the swans called his name. Look how sad he is. Can you imagine? Yes. It's terrible. It was Fionnuala. She told her father what had happened. The king was very angry. He pushed his wicked wife by turning her into a large, ugly moth. The moth flew high into the sky and disappeared forever. That was the end of Aoife. However, the children were still in that magic spell for the next 900 years. Lear visited his children every day. They talked and sang to him and were quite happy. Lear brought them food from the castle. He would often stay with them until sunset. He told them stories and taught them many new songs. When Lear died, the children were very sad. They did not sing anymore. They felt very lonely. After 300 years in Loch Derivara, the swans flew into the Sea of Moyle. It was very cold there. There were huge waves and great storms. Sometimes the swans were frightened. They longed for the warm waters of Loch Derivara. Fionnuala and her brothers spent 300 years on the Sea of Moyle. Then the time came for their final journey. When they reached Inishglora, they were very tired. Early one morning, the swans heard the sound of a bell, and they saw a man dressed in a long cloak. That's who they saw. That was the man that came, the monk. They saw a man dressed in a long cloak. He was a monk who lived on the island. He was ringing a bell to call the people to pray. The swans were excited at the sound of the bell. The terrible spell would soon be broken. They swam over to the monk. "Is that a Christian bell?" asked Fionnuala. The monk was very surprised to hear the swans speak. Fionnuala told him their whole story. The monk listened carefully to the sad story of the children of Lear. And when Fionnuala had finished telling their story, the monk raised his hand to bless the swans. Can you see the little picture there? As soon as he touched them, their beautiful white feathers disappeared. Can you see it now? When the monk looked up, he saw a lovely young girl and 3 tall, handsome young men. Fionnuala and her brothers looked at each other and saw that they were no longer swans, and they danced and sang with delight. The children had been swans for exactly 900 years. The wicked Aoife's spell was broken. Fionnuala and her brothers decided to return to Loch Derrabara. The castle was still there, as beautiful as before, and from then on they lived happily. They played in a forest and swam in the lake. Fionnuala, Aid, Fiachra and Con, children of the lake. Okay, so there they are back at their castle, happily ever after, 900 years after the spell had been broken. Did you enjoy that? Well, I'm going to leave this little book in the library for you, so you all can take turns looking at it, okay? Would you like that?
But they turn into swans.
They do
so
turn
they
into
had swans' faces.
They had
No,
swans'
like
faces.
when they were turned into swans.
They probably look like me, and perhaps it's a legend in Ireland. So yeah.
Well, they're happy dancing there, aren't they? Yeah. And so, children, also, I know that the last time my colleagues were here to talk to you, they had brought some colouring pages for you to do a colouring competition. Now, I know we didn't get a chance to do it last time, but this time I have brought a lovely picture of the children of Lir. And if anybody wants to take part in the colouring competition, we will leave the paperwork with the teacher. And if you want to bring a sheet home and do it at home and colour it whatever way you want, you can colour your swans whatever colour you want to colour it, design it however you want to do it, and bring it back into your teacher. There's going to be a nice surprise for the winner in each grade. So your teacher will send in the pictures to us. We will judge them at the consulate, and we'll choose a winner from each of your grades. Okay? Mm-hmm. Are we going to be there?
No,
you
don't.
don't.
Need to come in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to speak?
Yes.
Answer question.
This is a folklore tale.
There may be truth in it.
Maybe truth in it, but this is a story that's been handed down from generations to generations. So it's a folklore tale. Yeah. Yes. No, I have paper there for you. The picture, the colouring picture is already there. You just have to bring it home and colour it. And put your name on it and your grade. Yeah. Yeah, yes.
How come it's still alive for 9?
Because it was a spell. Wicked Aoife put a magic spell on them. And she told them they had to remain swans for 900 years, and that the spell would be broken if they heard the bell, the Christian bell, and the monk came and rang that bell, and the spell was broken. And then they came back to life, and then they lived happily ever after together. Yeah. Yes. They were actually. They were still young. It was as if
The spell
nothing
was
ever
broken.
happened. They were the same age as if nothing had ever happened. And they got to go back and live in their castle.
The noodle hands?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Do you have a question? Yeah.
I found said that they had white people feathers, but in the books you have to red and blue spots.
It's just to make it colourful, so the children would enjoy reading it more. But in reality, in the story, they are quite small. Yeah. Yeah. How come potatoes are so important? That's a very good question. Because potatoes were the main staple diet in Ireland for many, many years. Years ago, as you can see in this part of Ireland, the land is not very good. And so one of the hardest crops that you can grow is a potato. It can literally grow anywhere. So the land was fertile and it was good enough to grow potatoes, and it was cheap. It didn't cost much money, and it was just something that Irish people grew up with. That was their main staple diet. So
in the west of the country,
yeah.
and there's no cement. Yeah, they just put them in on top.
I saw this chair and
It's the same with high guys, and we have a lot of these like myth and legends.
Really? What museum did you see it in? The one in Boston. You may well have seen something from the museum in Ireland. They send a lot of artwork from Ireland over to the museums here in Boston, so the people here can see it. So it's very good that you go to the museum, you see something good. They have different exhibitions. They bring stuff over from Ireland, and they display it here in America for people here to see too. Yeah,
Let's
so
take
it's probably
one more
real.
question, and then we're gonna, I guess, boys and girls have to go back to school,
Okay.
unfortunately, for home.
Right.
I know the teachers wish they could have a few more hours at this time of day.
Okay.
So one more question.
But you back right in the back there.
Do zeros have 50 cents? Yep.
Yes, we do.
It's 50 cents? Oh, cool.
That's great. That's great. Well, one more, maybe one more. One more. What about you back there? Yes, you.
Yes, lots of fast food. We have McDonald's and Burger King. And we also have an Irish version. We don't have Wendy's, unfortunately. I know, it's my favorite. But we have
We look at it this way.
Yes. There's one right next to our office.
America, lots of immigrants.
Yeah.
America gave Ireland
Yes.
McDonald's.
Well, I
McDonald's,
do.
yes.
We don't
So our
use
kids
them.
love McDonald's
We
too.
wanna,
Um,
Okay, well, boys and girls, I know you all have to get back to your class. I'm sorry we didn't get to answer everybody's questions today, but you know where we are. Your teachers know where we are. We're happy to come back and see you again. We had a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed talking to us. So I hope you enjoyed our podcast.
Yes, that's
Okay, thank you for coming.
let's give our guests a wonderful
I thought you had it.
My name is Beatrice.
I want to thank the Consul General for allowing me to come down today. I want to thank the library for
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Hope I got the name right. That was perfect. For all you to use the facility today, it's a wonderful occasion. We have some juice and cookies that your teachers they're all marked up there, so take who will be. And we'll give one of the teachers that envelope for the contest.
Yeah.
They'll be due you to one person, your principal, or whether you decide by April 10th. And it's an emphatic envelope, it's mailed in. We want to get that in before you want spring break.
No hints.
Yeah.
So thank you again.
No hints. I can't. I get in trouble with my boss.
Excuse me. Before we leave, there's one group of people we want to thank. They work with you every day, very, very hard. Let's give your teachers a round of applause. The best game of applause we've ever had every year. 30 years or whatever. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. What was your name again?